Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I will be predicting the prelims for UFC Fight Night Blaydes versus Ngannou 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight of the night and our first prediction of the night. Our first prelim of the night as well. So in our first fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Yan Xiaonan versus Shuri Kondo. So looking at this fight, you got two fighters from two different countries, but they are very similar, like almost a mirror matchup. Both the same age, both born in 1989. Yan Xiaonan is like 2 inches taller. Shuri Kondo has a 3-inch reach advantage. Yan Xiaonan is a little bit more defensive of a striker, where Shuri Kondo is a little bit more aggressive of a striker. So it's like they're very similar, but also there are some slight differences between the two of them. But basically, I'm going to kind of come down to like it's going to be a very close fight. It's going to be hard to judge, and I'm not confident on who either of them winning. But I'm going to edge it to a Yan and Xiaonan just off of another thing. They're both kind of decision fighters. It's not like they're knockout artists, at least as far as when they're against the top level competition. They aren't like heavy-handed knockout artists. They're volume, accuracy, sharp, but they're not like knockout, heavy-handed type people are head kick, knockout type specialist people. It's like, especially in this matchup where they're so alike, it's going to be, I think it's pretty sure it's going to be a decision type fight. It's going to be very close. And it been in like China, Yan Xiaonan's background. And her backyard. I'm saying background in her backyard, her country. The crowd's gonna be on her side. The judges might be on her side, but just the cheering and just how close the fight will be, that all will factor in. Just give her that slight edge in a very close fight to win the fight. So basically, I'm saying the home back, like her being at home is gonna be a factor in this fight in a already very close fight. And I'm saying Yan Xiaonan winning a very close fight via decision. So in this fight, I got Yan Xiaonan via decision. Then on to our next fight, we got in the women's strawweight division, Zhang Weili versus Jessica Aguilar. So Jessica Aguilar, a very decorated women's MMA veteran, champion in several different organizations, been around for a minute and beat several solid names. But all that being said, I think this is a style mismatch. I think Zhang Weili is just too sharp. She fights very long. I think she might be 2 or 3 inches taller, but it's going to feel like 5 inches taller because she fights very tall, fights very rangy, has a very dangerous teep kick that like it could end fights. Is very offensive, but very good at keeping distance. She got a very good straight, got a very good jab. She got good hooks. So, and Aguilar is a shorter fighter, so you're fighting a fight that knows how to use her reach, knows how to use her range. She's very physically strong, and she has very sharp attacks and good counters. It's gonna be a bad style matchup for somebody who's short. It has to get in on the inside like Aguilar, and Aguilar wants to make it a wrestling match. Weili is pretty good at it. Her wrestling defense is solid, so it's really a bad style matchup. I think Weili just gonna have her way with Aguilar when Aguilar try to come in, and with the counter, she's gonna counter Aguilar coming in. At distance, she's gonna be able to pick Aguilar apart. But I think Aguilar is tough. She's certainly been in with some of the best people and did not get finished. So I don't think she'll get finished in this fight, but she'll certainly take a pretty good licking in this fight. And I'm pretty confident on who I had winning this fight. So in this fight, I got Zhang Weili winning via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Wu Yanan versus Lauren Mueller. So Wu Yanan brings a lot of bravado. She's like physically strong. She's aggressive. She gets in your face. Yes, like you can tell that she's trained and stuff, but she's not going to necessarily be the person that's going to wow you with technique. She's more so going to impress you with her pace, her aggression, and her bravado. She's going to be in your face and try to like push you against the cage. Going to be in your face, try to land some punches. Going to be in your face, trying to put that volume on you. But Lauren Mueller has the X factor, or she has the factors that will edge the fight towards her. She's more skilled. She actually has foot movement. She actually has head movement. She actually sets up strikes instead of like just throwing stuff out there just to swarm you with volume. She actually has intentions on what she's doing. So she has footwork. She has head movement. She understands angles. She uses angles. She actually sets stuff up, like sets up strikes. I mean, it's like you could set up strikes when you're just throwing like a volume out there, like hoping that something's gonna land or at least going to push you back. But she actually has intention, like when she sets up, she goes low, she kind of come high with this, like like you actually have visually setting up a strategy or setting up where something's supposed to land. It actually has everything's actually supposed to land or something. Let me not even get off the top. I'm basically saying Wu Yanan just kind of throws stuff out there, whereas Lauren Mueller actually is setting up something to hit. Whereas Wu Yanan just hoping that with her volume is setting stuff up to push you back or hoping it lands. Whereas Lauren Mueller knowing it's going to land. Like it's a huge difference between the two. I think that's going to be the factor that Lauren Mueller just a more skilled fighter, more technical fighter, and she has a better IQ as well, a significantly better IQ, has good takedown, and Wu Yanan's takedown defense isn't the best. Like more so, she has pretty decent hips and she has some solid this natural instinct. But Mueller has the instinct and she has the IQ as well with the instinct. I think it's going to be like not a bad matchup, but I think Laura Mueller just has all the edges in this fight. And I think that's who's going to win in the fight. And it's going to be a pretty clear-cut, dominant decision. And I have Laura Mueller via unanimous decision, or should I say decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Louis Smolka versus Suma whatever his name. I'm going to call him Suma. I can't really say his name. Suma Darigi. He got the same first and last name. So I'm just going to call him Sumu. He's a very aggressive dude. He could get submissions, he could get knockouts. But all his finishes seem to be like within the first or second round and within minutes. So he's a very aggressive fighter. He wants to get in there and get you out. But I think against Louis Smolka, that can factor in well for him because Louis Smolka has been out for a while, or at least out of the UFC, or at least whatever he's doing. He's been on the sidelines for a minute, kind of contemplating his career, so you can get him. Maybe you get him when he's cold. But Louis Smolka has always been somebody that responded well to adversity. Maybe when he's aggressive, it's not the best for him, but when somebody else is aggressive against him, he responds pretty well. He's able to take the aggression and then kind of endure it, then turn it on when you start to slow down and just pretty much take you out with a submission or just start smothering you and just break you down. So I think that's pretty much what's going to happen. It's going to be like a textbook Louis Smolka type fight. Suma Daraj's going to come out very aggressive, but Louis Smolka's going to be withstand that aggression in the earlier rounds or at least the early minutes and then begin to break him down and start to fill him out and just take him apart. And I see like a second round submission. So in this fight, I got Louis Smolka via second round submission. Then on to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Kevin Holland versus John Phillips. So Kevin Holland, long, rangy, pretty savvy, comfortable in the ring, good submission skills, good striking, solid prospect, solid reach, solid a lot of stuff about him. Young and still has a good, a pretty high ceiling if he wants to keep going and wants to keep building on himself. Versus John Phillips, who I'm looking at his record and looking at his opponents. He really has been fighting straight up like cans, like he's been building his record. I ain't seen nothing too impressive from his style and seen anything impressive from his wins or anything. He's been knocking out dudes who newspaper men and stuff, and I don't know. He's been knocking out the milkman and stuff. He's been knocking out people like 5 and 4, got 40 years old, got 9 kids and stuff. Ain't got time to train. He been going door to door knocking out old ladies. His record look like super padded. And that's really all I'm going off. So he come in padding his record up, getting some knockouts over people who really aren't on level. And then I guess that got him enough wins or I guess enough attention to come into the UFC. And I think he's going to be the person that's going to end up being the person like the can for Kevin Holland to beat on. So he's been beating up cans just so he could be a can to get beaten on by Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland's going to beat him either way he wants. And I see a first round stoppage for Kevin Holland, stopping John Phillips in the first round via KO or TKO/KO. So in this fight, I got Kevin Holland via first round TKO. Then on to our co-prelim headliner, we have in the bantamweight division, Liu Pingyang versus Martin Day. So in this fight, I just think Martin Day's one of the fighters that's well-rounded, solid, but not impressive. Like they're good everywhere, they're savvy, they train, probably got a good condition, they could go all around, they could give you some good work, but nothing else stand outish about them. And that's really what's going to play out. I think Liu Pingyang he's a better striker, he's a physically stronger fighter. He has more versatility with his grappling. He can submit you in all different ways, whether it be like joint, whether it be neck, whether it be limb. He could go for leg locks. He could go for inverted triangles. He could go for guillotines. He could go for arm bars. He's just very savvy with his grappling, and on the feet, he's just very sharp with his striking. I just think he's better everywhere. I think the physicality is going to be a big factor in this fight. He's going to be the stronger fighter than Martin Day. He's going to be putting that pressure on Martin Day, and Martin Day is really not going to be having anything to counter that because it's not like he's going to be the more technical fighter. He might be a little bit more faster, but he's not going to be the technical fighter that to really work around that brick wall that's in front of him that's imposing on him. He's not going to be finding these detours. He's going to be getting pushed back and just really just taking the blunt of everything. I see Liu Pingyang, whatever, I'm missing the name right now, Pingyang, just pretty much just having his way with him in this fight and just tearing him up. And I see I think Martin Day's a very tough fighter, but I'm going to see Liu Pingyang breaking him down in the first 2 rounds, just breaking him down gradually, a gradual breakdown, and then in the third round, taking him out of there with a submission. So in this fight, I got Liu Pingyang via third round submission. And I might have butchered his name, but it's only 2 people. Whatever. Let me just get off this topic. Then to our prelim headliner, we have in the heavyweight division, Hu Yaozong versus Rashad Coulter. So looking at Hu Yaozong's record, is very padded. He's only 3-1, and you can't say how somebody with 3-1 records, 3-1, who's 3-1 have a padded record, but he does. He's in the UFC, and of the 3 people he beat, only one of them has a win, and that win is by disqualification. So the only guy he beat that has a win won it because some other guy, I guess, elbowed him illegally. So none of the guys, he hasn't beat anybody that ever had a win. They look at him in the UFC. He's young. He certainly can like always improve. That's what you have with these young fighters. They could improve overnight and have like leaps in confidence, leaps in technique, leaps in all this different stuff overnight because they're so young and they're so green. It's like they really don't know too much yet, or they haven't really put things together yet. So it's always like they have these huge leaps in like they're like this as far as who they are as fighters. They can leap. Have these huge leaps in talent, leaps in skill, whatever case I'm saying. You know where I'm going with this direction. Like they can have these huge leaps. They can improve significantly over in a very short amount of time because they're still green and they're still putting stuff together. But as far as what I've seen from him, I'm not too impressed. His wrestling is very shabby. I mean, it's very terrible almost. It's like he has kind of the basics there, but it's just not really there at all. But Rashad Coulter's not even going to take him down. He's never even attempted takedowns as far as his UFC career goes. He really wants to knock you out. So I think in this fight, and Hu Yao Zhang really ain't tipped no takedowns either. So it's going to be a fight where it's going to be 2 people. It's going to be a striking matchup. It's going to be an MMA type striking matchup. Might be some clinches here and there, but it's going to be a striking matchup standing. Nobody's even going to try to attempt to take down. Hu Yao Zhang got a pretty good, decent leg kicks. And then Rashad Coulter has dealt bad with leg kicks. I think he's 0-3 in the UFC. Been finished every time. So you got 2 people. It's like you can't really be confident in either one. You got one guy who can't find a win in UFC. The other guy can't find a win in UFC, but he only had 1 shot. He's young, so you gotta say, is he gonna have this big leap in skill, or he's gonna have this big improvement from this like his last fight to this fight because he's so young? Is that gonna happen? Or Rashad Coulter, like he's just gonna come in is the guy he was in his last fight. If he comes in the guy he was in his last fight, which I'm gonna say he's gonna come in, or a slightly better version of that fight, I'm not gonna really just try to predict somebody's potential. I'm just gonna predict what I see. And he's pretty susceptible to that overhand right. He just kind of backs up straight and sticks his arm out, which is pretty bad for defending an overhand right. That's like the worst technique you could do. You just pretty much you're pretty much putting your head on the target line to get hit with an overhand right by doing that. And that's really all Rashad Coulter has. He's pretty explosive. At least with that overhand right, he got some power. He got pretty weak legs, but he got some power. Maybe not the best gas tank, but he definitely has the heart to keep fighting until you put him all the way out. But yeah, like that, he has some pretty good speed and some power on that thing. As you see from his record, he also has a pretty terrible record as far as his competition level as far as before he got to the UFC. But basically, I'm saying that overhand that Rashad Coulter has is probably the blueprint, or at least his was the tool that will win him this fight. And Hu Yao Zhang's this bad defense against overhand rights, just going backwards, stick his hand out. I think that's going to give Rashad Coulter many opportunities to land that big overhand, and he does have the power to put him out. And I think he will put him out in the second round via TKO. So in this fight, I got Rashad Coulter via second round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the prelims of UFC Fight Night, Blaydes versus Ngannou 2. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.